Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our third series or third installment in our midweek marriage series. I'm Lauren, and this is my fiance, Joey Hockey. This is the first time we've ever done anything together like this, and we're so excited that we get to share tonight on our thoughts, kind of just on marriage. A couple weeks ago, we had Pastor Phil and Miss Debbie, my mom and dad, speak from their 30 or almost 30 years of marriage experience. And then last week, we had Jason and Jill, who spoke from their 22 years of marriage. And Joey and I are really starting at ground zero with our marriage because we're actually set to get married here in actually less than 2 months, really. Right? Like 40 some days.
Something that Patrick would know.
Yeah, Patrick would know. But all of that right now is we're kind of figuring that out and navigating through what that's exactly going to look like for us, just, amidst all the coronavirus stuff. So that has been a big hurdle to face and something that you would never expect to have to overcome, like not even before you get married.
Yeah, but I think it's a good way to start. A little trial by fire.
Trial by fire.
Nothing wrong with that. Praise the
well,
Lord anyway.
I would certainly prefer it otherwise, but hey, whatever. That's a good way to look at it. But yeah, so today we're just going to kind of share a little bit about our story, how we met, and just kind of like our thoughts on marriage as we get ready to step into that part of our lives. So I guess we'll start first with how we met and kind of like how we began.
Yeah, so I was in my room playing video games, hanging out, and then Michelle texted me, and she said, hey, there's this girl I go to church with. She's single, she's cute. Would you want to meet her? And it's like, I guess. I mean, I didn't really care at that point. I was just kind of like, whatever. But I was like, yeah, sure, when? And then we landed on a day. It was like that Friday or something. And we decided to meet at the poorhouse. I think that was my decision. Or did you want to meet at Starbucks or?
I think it was, we talked about Starbucks, but then somehow along the way it got changed to Poorhouse.
Yeah. So we decided to do the poorhouse instead. And then we got there. It was kind of like it was going to be me, Lauren, Ben, and Michelle, kind of like, just to kind of like, almost like a little group date.
Yeah, kind of like so it wouldn't have been awkward for you to just like text me and like, hey, how are you?
Yeah, kind of weird, but yeah, just to kind of help lubricate conversation and stuff like that. But so I got there before Ben and Michelle, and Lauren was already in there, and I kind of saw her through the window, so I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and walk in. And we kind of had a funny, like, I just walked in, and you're like,
As soon as he walked in, we obviously like saw each other, and I looked at him and I was like, "Hi, I'm Lauren." And as I said that,
I was like, so it's Lauren, right? And then we shook hands. But
it was funny.
yeah, it was funny. And then, yeah, we probably spent about like an hour there, maybe a little longer.
Yeah, it was. I know we were on a time limit because I think Ben and Michelle had to go pick up Lacey, which Ben is Joey's brother, and Michelle is Ben's wife. They had been going to our church for a while, and several months prior to, Michelle had also texted me and basically said the same thing, like, would you be interested in meeting Ben's brother? He's super cute and funny and smart. And at that point, I felt like, well, I am in no position in my life to turn down the opportunity to meet a really cute guy who is smart and funny. So she had texted both of us. And prior to that, though, like several months before Michelle had texted both of us, I think Ben and Michelle had been going to church for, I don't know, maybe a couple months, and I had somehow like messaged Michelle because I felt like they looked kind of young, like my age, and I was like, man, I want to be friends with them. They just looked really sweet and fun. So Michelle and I actually got coffee at Starbucks like several months prior to that, and just kind of like, at least that broke the ice, like to start, a relationship or friendship with her. So, but that was prior to meeting.
And then, but after like our little coffee date, because you were going to Cincinnati that weekend, and well, I didn't know that obviously, and I was like, so you want to go like walk around Dunham's or something? But so, and then I asked to get you if you wanted to go to Dunham's, but you were going to Cincinnati to hang out with some friends for the weekend.
Yeah, I had like several different things I had to do that day, like after coffee. Not really intentional. It was just like, it just kind of, that was how the day went. And so I had kind of had to book it out of there in a sense, because I had planned this girls' weekend in Cincinnati with my high school friends, because at that point in my life, I had decided I am no longer going to be sad and single. I was going to be happy and like make the most out of life. And that year, myself and my high school, best friends, we had been really consistent on meeting with each other like once every 3 or 4 months, going to each other's different cities that we lived in, and just spending a weekend together. And it was so fun, and I'm so glad we did that. But that particular weekend was when I was going to Cincinnati to my friend Kayla's, where we were all going to hang out and like go to a Reds game and stuff. And then that weekend, though, we couldn't see each other because I was gone, and then you had texted me.
Yeah, and I was under the impression that there's a rule, like you go on your first date or whatever, which was, it was kind of like a blind meetup, whatever. But I was like, okay, so I'm not supposed to text her for 3 days. So, and it was Friday, and I think I made it to Sunday, right?
Yeah,
Because I texted you Sunday night, and I was like, hey, how was your weekend trip or something like that? And obviously the point was, when can I see you again? Can we go on a real date? And it was Monday. We went to Shoguns. And honestly, I mean, ever since then, every single day, we've not stopped seeing each other, unless like circumstances have come up. But if we could, we saw each other every single day.
Yeah, I remember like, as soon as Shoguns happened, I think we literally did see each other like every single day.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when like the first, like you had to go to, it wasn't California that year. Was that the next year?
There was one time, like one weekend or something, where we didn't see each other. But like apart from that, we were very into each other. We always wanted to hang out and spend time with each other, to the point at like one point, I think I may have asked you, I was like, are you okay, like seeing me every day? Like, because I had never like really experienced something like that, where like in a relationship where we saw each other every day, or like, are we supposed to be seeing each other every day? Like, is this too much? Like, trying to navigate like what is right in this situation. Like, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I want to see you every day, but like, is it too much,
And that's why I asked you, like, so am I annoying you, or do you not want to hang out all the time? But you were like, yes, I do. It's like, oh, okay. So as long as we weren't annoying each other, we were okay.
Yeah,
But,
no.
And then it took, so April 13th was like our first meetup, and then it was May 28th when I finally asked you if you'd be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which, the rules of engagement, it's like I don't even understand sometimes. It's like, are we already boyfriend and girlfriend, or do I literally have to declare it or ask?
Declare it.
So, you are my girlfriend. No.
Yeah, at that point, though, like that day, I was like, I mean, for probably a couple weeks leading up to that, I was like, I mean, I feel like we're dating. Like, we're, like, I feel like you're my boyfriend. I hang out with you every day. But, like, I also just didn't know. And, like, somehow I, like, brought it up. Now, like, what are we? Like, the what are we question,
Yeah, I kind of felt, it was a little, like, stern, too. Well, not, like, stern, but, like, I was like, oh, gosh, my bad. I guess I should ask you.
Yeah, and then we were talking about it later, and you had told me that your friend had told you, like, no, dude, you don't need to ask her. Like, you're just together. And I then found out, like, what friend that was. And I was like, no, you should have asked the other friend. He would have told you the right answer.
Yeah, not the best advice, but, whatever.
It worked out, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely. I mean, we're getting married, so.
Yeah, we are getting married, right?
Yep, still getting married.
It's going to be 2 years, because, like, May 28th, and then we're getting married May 23rd. So literally, like, 2 years.
Right at 2 years. We're certainly not trying to waste any time, But I mean, I think both of us, like, prior to meeting each other, had also, like, gone through, like, you know, I think prior to meeting your person, everyone probably has gone through negative, like, experiences.
They get their heart broken at least once.
Yes. Yeah, at least once. Hopefully no more than that, but usually more. But yeah, like, that's why, like, when we were hanging out so often and, like, where you wanted to hang out with me all the time, I felt so weird about that because, like, in previous, like, experiences that I had had with, like, other guys and stuff, I had never felt like, I don't know, like, we just wanted to hang out with each other all the time. So that was, like, really threw me for a loop at first with you because, I was just baffled by it, like, that we wanted to hang out so much. But I also think that that was one thing where I kind of recognized why it was, like, different, because I felt genuinely like like you enjoyed my company, Not that I necessarily didn't feel that way before, like with other relationships, but I just, like, I knew it, and I, like, knew that you wanted to hang out with me, and that made me it made me feel so good. Like, he, like, really wants to hang out with me. He likes me. So, but that was, like, one, like, small thing that I, like, saw a difference with you, than, like, prior boyfriends or relationships or whatever. And that's kind of, like, I don't know, I want this to be encouraging, like, for maybe somebody who you're still looking for your person, you haven't found that person yet or whatever. I don't know. I just would want it to be encouraging for whoever that person is that's watching this, that that you're able to see the differences between something that's good and something that's not good.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of stuff should be it should be kind of basic and more simple than maybe what we make it. I know, like, before you, it was kind of dating a little bit. One serious girlfriend there at, like, the end of my senior year in high school. That was, like, the one girl that's like, oh yeah, I think we're gonna get married, and it's like, oh my gosh, no, not gonna happen. But and then talking to other girls and stuff, I just knew it's like, this isn't gonna be my wife, and it's like, am I wasting my time? Probably a little bit. But you're kind of like, you don't want to be alone for the rest of your life, and you want to fall in love, of course, and get married and stuff. But I eventually just kind of quit trying because I didn't want to waste time, not like going for trash or anything like that. Just like, being with girls I know I shouldn't be with, because we'd be unequally yoked, and, like, they're not Christian, or they say they're Christian, but you get to know them, and their lifestyle doesn't really reflect the same. And so as I wouldn't say given up, but maybe just kind of did my own thing, enjoyed my own company, not really chasing girls or anything like that, which I was never really, like, a Mac dog anyways. And that's when Michelle texted me, was kind of like almost at the time when it's like, I'm not trying at all. Yeah. So that's why I was more susceptible, just be like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I'll just meet her, and if it doesn't work, I don't really care. I'm kind of just where I'm at anyways.
Yeah, that's, I think, also, like, exactly where I was at too, because, like, for me similarly, it's not like I had, like, thrown in the towel, like, I'm just, like, giving up on dating or whatever, but it was just like, you know what, like, I'm gonna not just be totally consumed with, like, just actively trying to find someone. I'm just gonna, like, live my life. I'm gonna go on my girls' weekends and hang out and do something that I genuinely enjoy apart from, being with a guy or trying to find my husband. I'm just gonna go enjoy life and with what I have at the moment, because, like, at that point, like, prior to meeting you, like, I did not have a husband or a fiance or even a boyfriend, and it's like, okay, I don't have that right now, but what I do have are my friendships, I have my job and my family. And it, like, probably several months prior to meeting you, I had, like, actively decided in my mind, I'm gonna throw myself into all those things that I know that I love, that I know I enjoy, and I'm just gonna, like, see what happens, like, because obviously it's not working by me trying so hard to just to find someone. And I think, like, looking back on, like, being single and, like, not being engaged or having a serious boyfriend yet, I wish that, like, those years of my life, that I would have done what I did prior to meeting you, like just thrown myself into something that I just really enjoy, or try to figure out what I really enjoy and grow in other areas of my life, because that's exactly how it happened in meeting you. It was, I was throwing myself into my job. I was hanging out with, my friends, and it was in the midst of all that, of not thinking about meeting somebody like you, that I did meet you.
Yeah. And being single is fun, like in its own way. Not like going out and messing around, but just getting to hang out with yourself and like less responsibility towards someone else, which is obviously great. Like I'm fine with that. But when you're single, you don't have to worry about things like that. And so it can be hard, but it's important to just enjoy it, because eventually, I mean, you're going to meet somebody and they're going to be great and they're going to be perfect for you, for the most part. And I mean, you can just kind of go from there instead of like constantly being worried. Was like, well, my buddy over here, he's got a girlfriend and he's got a wife and everyone's like getting hitched and all that. And I'm just over here, by myself. But you're kind of focusing on the wrong things. And it's just important to enjoy your own company, be involved in the church, hanging out with your friends, like you said. I mean, it's all so important. But in the meantime, to continue to pray, like, God, I'm trusting you for a wife. She's going to be beautiful. She's going to be awesome. She's going to love you. And, I mean, that's what I prayed for. Maybe not all the time, but I like to think once a week. I'd bring it up. I'd be like, hey, God, I really want...
Don't forget me.
Yeah. I got this wife. I can see her now, But, no, I mean, I totally did pray for you. And then lo and behold, here you are. And it's like it is. I know my mom was like kind of praying for us the other day, and it's almost like, God kind of gave her a word, and it was like, this marriage was ordained by God in heaven. And it's like, yeah, for sure. I can, without a doubt, I can see that, and I know that. And that's why I'm excited for like our future and like where we're going to go from here. I'm not single anymore. Now I got responsibility, and like I kind of feel more. Before when I'd go to work, it's just like, I'm just going to work, I'm going to get my paycheck and kind of do my own thing. But now it's like, I got to go to work and I got to be better so that I can continue and like provide in the future for when kids eventually come. 2, maybe 3 is what we've agreed upon so far. So we'll see.
Yes, 2, maybe 3.
2, maybe 3.
Probably 3. Yeah, so we've, I think we both were at kind of the same place when we met each other, in the sense of, what we just said, like just doing what we knew to do and not like trying so hard. And I think that's what I would say to someone who is our age, who, hasn't met their person yet, or even people that are younger than us, if you're in high school, in college, if you still haven't met your person and you're really believing for that and wanting it, I would encourage, just go do what you know to do. I know that that's probably not what anybody wants to hear. I doubt it's what I wanted to hear. But I truly believe that, like, from living through, like, what we've lived through, that when you are invested and when you really throw yourself into the things that you know to do, like your job, your schoolwork, your family, whatever that looks like for you in developing yourself, I truly believe that somewhere along the way, while you're doing that your person will happen and will enter your life. I like they say, it's like when you least expect it, it'll happen.
Which is how it worked out for us, I think.
Yeah, I think in a way, but like in a sense, it's not like I didn't expect like that I would meet you. I expected that I would meet you, like in the sense of my person, but I wasn't like, actively expecting you, like, oh my gosh, am I going to meet him today?
Like, every day, just like, where is he?
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
But I think in general, I did expect you, like in the grand scheme. And I would just encourage you to not lose your hope of meeting your person. Again, throw yourself into the things you do know to do. And somewhere along the way, I truly believe that that is where your sweet spot is, and that's where you do meet your person.
Absolutely.
So, and with that, there's like several things that like we've talked about like in going into marriage, kind of like I guess switching gears a little on before, but like now as we prepare for the real deal, for the big leagues, it's like we've been active in kind of like recognizing what we've seen that we liked in other people's marriages that we really admire, and things that we don't necessarily want to take into ours.
Yeah, so I feel like the first year of our relationship was the boyfriend girlfriend, really fun, enjoying each other's company, getting to know each other, getting to know each other's families, going and doing fun things. And then as we fell in love with each other. Obviously, the next thing we were thinking about is like, well, so are we going to spend the rest of our lives together? And I already knew that I was going to like propose and ask her to marry me and all of those things. And then so even before we got engaged, I mean, we were kind of, I don't know, I mean, pursuing like what a real relationship looks like, even going into the future as far as like a marriage. And as of when we got engaged, which was October, so I mean, our engagement was like 6 or 7 months, and even between then, what we're doing is we're seeking counsel. We're like with Jason and Jill, with that book series we're doing, John Bevere and Lisa Bevere, and what's that called? Marriage.
I was trying to think of the name of it. I wish I would have brought the book.
Yeah, it's like a big tree trunk, and it's like all the rings. I think it's a marriage story.
The Marriage Story. That's what it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, way to go me. But so we're doing all of these things that we know to do, like to prepare for marriage and to kind of build a really solid foundation, instead of just going blindly like, yeah, we're going to get married and it's just going to work out because God loves us. And so he's going to provide and it's going to be perfect. And he will provide, but we definitely have to do our part. And we have to like kind of do some of the legwork and build the foundation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we have been doing for the past couple or 2 or 3 months. We've been, meeting with Jason and Jill, who've done our premarital counseling, which I really believe in premarital counseling. I feel like
absolutely.
It's been so good for us because, like, with the book that we're doing, The Marriage Story by John and Lisa Bevere, we've been doing that, and there's little videos that we watch with it, and something that I really like that we've done throughout our book study through that book, we actually read everything that we read in the book, we read it out loud. So we're supposed to do like one chapter each day, or one section of each chapter a day.
And it ends up being a chapter a week.
Yes. Yeah. So we read it out loud to each other. I'll usually read the first half, then the second half, or vice versa, whatever. We split it. And I think just reading it out loud and like reading it together has been super helpful. And then like there's discussion questions that you do, and it's just, we've had great conversation through reading that book.
Yeah, it has developed a great conversation for sure, but also just like reading it out loud, we're kind of, it shows we're both actually trying. We're not just like reading like okay and blah blah blah. We're kind of into it. We're taking it seriously, and I think I think the results will, a little bit short term, but mostly long term.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like, again, this isn't like, we obviously don't have marriage experience to like say do this or do that, but like just for like maybe you've been married 40, 50 years, and I don't know, maybe you haven't done a devotional together in a while.
Yeah, and even if you have, like Jason and Jill, they always talk about like they're continuously like striving for a better marriage and to perfect the craft. I mean, if that's a way you can put it, but like always reading devotionals and all of that, and that's like inspiring. And it's like, like even when we're married 5-10 years, I mean, I want to continue to kind of work on our marriage. It's obviously a working process.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the most important thing, the most important relationship aside our individual relationships with the Lord that we'll ever have on this side of heaven. Like,
yeah, for sure.
And I've always told myself, like from even in high school probably, if there's anything that I want to be good at, I want to be good at marriage, because I want that to be great.
Yeah, like being a good family unit.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
like serving Christ and all of that.
Because that's where, we've had extensive discussions on like things that are going on in the world today, like the negative things, and like just how like rough it is out there, in the day and age that we live in. And most of our conversations about that always come back to the family unit on like, are we really investing in building our families the way that we should,
Yeah, and we're so blessed also that like your mom and dad are together and like my mom and dad are together and we were raised in a healthy family environment, which I mean, a lot of people definitely do not have that luxury. And so we're definitely really thankful for that. And like, I mean, like you said, your parents have done their marriage really well, and like there's some things you take away that you'd love to do, and maybe some things you'd kind of change or wouldn't do. And the same thing for me. I mean, I think my mom and dad are great, and I never had the fear like they would get divorced or anything like that. And so I'm really thankful for things like that. But even with that, like there's some things maybe I would do differently, and not to knock them at all, but it's just like we're doing our own path.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's a knock at all. I feel the exact same way about my mom and dad, and I would tell them that. I probably have. And it's not like to say that they did anything wrong or bad. I mean, both our parents, my parents will be 30 years in May, and your parents are over 30 years together.
Yeah, 35 or 36 maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting in trouble because I just don't know.
So, like, they've obviously done something right to be, so committed to each other for such a large portion of their lives. And it's not a knock on them that we don't want to do some of the things that, each of our parents have done or to do something better. It's just we're individuals, and, there's certain things that as individuals we want to do differently, So, but thankfully they really have given us a strong foundation. And I'm so thankful that we both individually have great parents and parental like structures to look at individually, but I'm thankful that like I can look at your mom and dad and like see the love and care that they have for each other and their family, and the relationship that I already have with them. And same for you with my mom and dad too.
Yeah, I mean, I love your mom and dad, and I think they love me, and like we have good conversations, and like same with you, and like with my mom and dad, and we all mesh really well, and that's kind of what helps make it seem like it's just such a God thing, we're really getting interwoven in all parts of our family.
Well, and that's another thing I would say too, like if you are dating someone, or if you're not, like either way, if you're not dating someone or if you are, at that point, whenever you do meet families and stuff, it's an important thing to be able to gel well with the other person's family, because if that doesn't gel well, it only makes life harder, I think. And thankfully, like, we don't have that issue, but I think that's like a contributing factor as to why we work so well,
Yeah, for sure.
But I would say, like, if your parents are like, and if you trust your parents' opinion and their input in your life, and that they're great people and godly people, whatever, and they're showing some resistance to maybe the person that you're dating, I would take that and really evaluate that, because I think that says something about that person that you're dating.
Yeah, and like if you look at Peter the pilot, his mom had some certain feelings towards Maddie, but in that situation, it was actually no Hannah, or because she was in love with Hannah or whatever. And it's like, you known her for like 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I brought that up. But
No, I'm so glad you did. One of my greatest accomplishments in life is getting Joey to watch The Bachelor with me.
And that's another thing. So I don't like love The Bachelor. I do find it entertaining for sure. But just a quick little thing, you need to do the things that your significant other loves to do. So she loves The Bachelor. I'll watch The Bachelor with you. That's fine with me. I like to watch movies. So, and I like to pick like certain obscure random dramas that are weird, and she'll sit through them. Sometimes I have to get onto her to get off her phone, but she's like, she'll put it down, and then so even if like you can't do it begrudgingly, like okay, yeah, let's do this, because that shows. and it's not healthy, because then it's like, so you don't want to do the things that I love to do, and it's important to do those things.
Yeah, I agree. I think at the end of it all, like, I mean, again, we're ground zero right here with marriage. But I truly think that at the end of it all, it's about preferring the other person. And if we can't prefer the other person, meaning if you can't love them, love does what is best for the other person. It prefers them over yourself. And if it's not that, if we're not preferring each other, and if we don't want to prefer each other, like, what are we doing? I mean, I know that we'll have moments and stuff like everyone does where we obviously don't prefer the other person more than ourselves. Like, that's just human nature. But I think in general, like, at the end of the day, once it's all said and done, that is what we're called to do.
Yeah, for sure. And just to get a little Bible in here, I think this should be somewhat relevant. In Ephesians chapter 4, verses 2 and 3 here, so it says, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. So be completely humble and gentle. So we have to be humble towards one another. Pride can't get in the way, and pride is definitely that's like the big killer. Like, if I'm not going to communicate something to you because maybe it's like a little embarrassing, or I just don't want to go there, most likely that's like kind of pride. Like, no, I'm not going to talk about that. We'll just get through it and we'll be fine. Whereas that'll kind of build like this kind of chasm in between us, and then it just gets bigger and bigger until eventually either I explode or you explode, or it kind of all comes crumbling down. So we need to be humble and gentle. I mean, it's like, if you do something maybe that's like kind of like silly and I beat you up for it, that's not being gentle. I just need to be like, hey, Lauren, I don't know about that,
And you're very good about that. You are, if anything, you are gentle.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I think that was all for my Bible verse.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Being humble and gentle with each other, because again, pride is, I think you said it right. Like, it is the downfall. It's a breakdown of communication.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an ugly thing. Like, that should be one of our biggest goals, is to never let pride.
Avoid pride just completely. Like, if you feel it kind of building up in you at all, just like, no, like, just knock it down, pray about it, ask the Lord to forgive you, and just move on, and just don't have that in your life. It's just no good.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing to to overcome. Like, it's just one of those things that it's difficult. But I think getting to it quick, like, once you sense it and you feel it and you recognize, like, this is pride coming in and trying to take root, address it quick.
Yeah, because if you don't, then you'll get so lost in it that you won't even know what pride is.
Yeah.
Like, you might be prideful in how humble you are.
Yeah,
which
true.
A lot of people do, and it's like, what are you doing? You're proud of how humble you are? Like, no, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, so I think that was great. Again, we obviously do not have like 30, 20, even 10 years, not even 5 years worth of experience, even in a relationship to pour wisdom into, but
yeah, but one thing we do have is we have been Christians for a long time, and I think that definitely makes a difference. And I'm not going to say that we're both mature Christians. I mean, maybe a little, like, just a little mature. But like,
if we could be so bold.
If we could be so bold. But like, so if she was like, if you were a really young Christian, like, you've been saved for a year, and I'm kind of like, I've been saved for about 15, 20 years now, which is weird to say. And then, so I would have to recognize that, and like, kind of like, you might stray off a little quicker and be like, whoa, no, you can't do that. Yeah. But luckily we're both kind of seasoned, and we read the word and we pray, so we recognize things. Yeah. And so that's kind of helped us to the start. Yeah. And I mean, because otherwise, if we were both like maybe we've both been saved for 6 months. We would need a lot more guidance, a lot more. But even at that, we're still trying to get as much as we can.
Not to say that, like, you know, relationships that are at that point can't work out. Like, they
No, yeah.
totally can.
Absolutely.
You know, but that we're just speaking from, you know, not many years of relationship together, but many years of, you know, being a Christian, walking
a
with the Lord.
relationship with the Lord, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, it's like almost like a common knowledge thing. Like, Jesus is the groom and the church is the bride, and like that's how we should mimic like our relationship and our marriage is the marriage of Jesus in the church, and like husband and wife.
Yeah.
I mean, because Jesus, he does it with complete humility, with gentleness, with love and kindness. And so, like, we should be imitating that every day.
Yeah. He doesn't just come in and, you know, like,
Go scorched earth.
bulldoze
Yeah.
everything.
No. He's facilitating. He's like, you know, the potter, you know, working on the clay. Yeah. And we're the clay. Gonna work on the clay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this was good. I think that
Did we
was
hit
a
our
lot.
mark?
I think we did. We did awesome. We were concerned that we would stay or be up here for like 5 minutes and
then
have
run out of
nothing to say.
conversation.
No, we did good. But thank you guys so much for hanging around with us tonight and watching. I hope that you are weathering the coronavirus with strength and that you guys are finding the good in all this. It's, you know, difficult too when you have plans and, you know, even if you don't have plans, just your normal routine.
Yeah,
you know?
and for us, I mean, our plans are hindered a little bit, but we're still optimistic. We're still trusting in God, and it's all going to work out. Yeah. It has to. It's got to work out one way or another.
And it's going to work out for you too, whatever it is that you're facing.
Amen.
You
Yeah.
know, it might not be a wedding, but it could be
A birthday party,
or, I don't know, baseball season.
Yeah, baseball season. It sucks, all the sporting events and all that.
Yeah, but whatever it is, your business. I know there's several people here at Kingsway that like own their own business and stuff.
Yeah.
This is going to come to an end. It is difficult and it does hurt, and you know.
Yeah, but I mean, if anything, just stand on the Word of God, keep praying, keep reading, and trust in the Lord.
If anything, we have a lot more time now to read and to get into the
You are
Word.
running out of excuses. So I'm running out of excuses.
Same. But thank you guys for watching tonight. This was so fun. Hope you have enjoyed the midweek marriage series so far. We have enjoyed doing it. So thank you for watching and have a great week.
Amen.